Hi, I'm Dave Edwards. Well, to many people, David Allen needs no introduction. He's the author of Getting Things Done and is considered by many to be the guru of productivity. I'm lucky enough to get to talk to him regularly. And today in our conversation, we will be focusing on personal productivity systems. Hey, if you like this kind of material, please follow me and click on the like button below. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming segments. The last time David and I spoke, we talked about how we periodically have to go through all of our action systems and to-do lists. Otherwise, we just collect things that aren't important now as they were when we first added them to the list.
Yeah. No, I get it. Because sometimes you give yourself permission, like you probably did at end of year, to kind of lift your horizon up a little bit and
Right.
see a longer look. And given the longer look, yeah, some of that stuff going, well, it was important. No, not so. Let me move it to someday, maybe, or just dump it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that. I've,
Well,
I've taken my someday maybe list, I don't know how many times in the last 20 or 30 years. And sometimes I just dump it all and just create a new one. Those have been on there just for too long. I don't think I'm ever going to do
yeah.
that, and dump. And that's fine. I think that's a healthy process. I think it's ongoing. So good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I actually ran into that problem with my someday maybe list because that was clearly becoming the catch-all. And I think the last time you and I talked, I alluded to this because I kept looking at that someday maybe list as just being ridiculous. And then I decided that maybe I needed to break them into two, like a someday list and a maybe list. And it would be kind of like, rating them that way.
Sure. Well, there's kind of the bucket list, and then there's the short-term parking lot.
Yeah.
So you can have lots of versions of someday maybe. I mean, in a sense, in Everett, all those, movies I might want to see, food I might want to cook, wine I might want to try. Um, all those are kind of versions of someday maybe.
Right.
There's no commitment to do anything about them. It's just kind of a combination of reference and someday maybe. I have a list of all the fun comedies, rom-coms that Catherine and I like to look at, from time to time. So, yeah, that's a kind of a someday maybe, but I probably had, 35 versions of someday maybe, given those different kind of lists that I just, manage or maintain.
I feel better. Uh,
Okay,
now,
good. My son, go forward, be fruitful, multiply, or
thank you,
whatever
Father
that
Allen. I
is.
appreciate that. I want to ask you one more question. And after the last time you and I talked, I actually got an email from a GTD Connect member, and he asked me if I would ask you a question about next action items and projects. His question was this: you have a project, you define the next action. Do you recommend people define one next action or lay out the entire project in a series of next actions?
Depends what you need to get that project off your mind.
So if you know, for example, that to use the example you use, mom's birthday, okay, that doing something for mom's birthday is a bunch of steps. You think it's wise, important to just write all those steps out right away as opposed to do one and then think of the next one?
Well, when you're down at the granularity of a real next action, you're going to overplan if you plan past the next action, because it's going to define what the next one is.
Right.
What most people think about or think they're talking about are actually sub projects of a project. Oh, we need to handle presents, we need to handle the refreshments, we need to handle the invitations. Those are sub projects. Those are not next actions. So yeah, maybe you need to do that level of granularity. You're going to take a vacation. Well, we need to handle this. We need to handle these kind of things. We need to make sure we've got all the stuff we need to do. Those are sub projects. And yeah, and sometimes you do as many of those as you need to feel like you've got an overview, of the landscape in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes you don't. If you've given mom 63 birthdays, and you know how to do the next things, you're fine. You don't need to lay it all out. I just want to say, just do what you need to do to get that off your mind. And sometimes you need to do a lot more than you need other times. It just
Mhm.
depends. That's up to you.
When you describe that, what it sounds to me almost like a mind map. It almost sounds like, you've got a sheet of paper, but you've got all these tentacles for all these sub projects and
Sure.
next actions coming.
Yeah. Well, the project people would call that critical path, or PERT charts or Gantt charts, or there's lots of pretty sophisticated kind of project planning where they lay things out. This is dependent on that happening, and once that happens, that this thing comes into play, and then here's that. There's a lot of complexity to a lot of projects. I mean, try to build an airplane,
Mm.
and
So
so
when you do that, David, do you lay all that out on paper, or is that in a digital note someplace?
depends. Usually, I have a digital mind mapping program, Mind Manager, I use, and sometimes I use that. Sometimes just a Word doc where I'm just sitting down and outlining bullet points is sufficient,
Mhm.
for all I need to do that.
And then
Usually not on paper, because usually I want to keep the document and adding to it as I think of other things to it, and then I may need to print it out and hand it to Catherine, or share it with somebody else, or
Mhm.
just use it as a checklist for myself. So yeah,
So with your new system now, with your Office 365 system, are you keeping all of your lists in OneNote, or where do they reside for you?
they're in tasks,
Okay.
and it's a simple list manager. They did that pretty well. So
Yeah.
all I need are these simple lists. I mean, no big deal. So task is fine.
What I've noticed in our conversations that we've been doing now for I think over a year um, is that you're so chill about all these kinds of things, and those of us who are the users and trying to make the system work for us, like I don't know if we're taking it too seriously or too literally, but it just seems like you've got this, it just kind of flows, and the rest of us are like kind of hyper about
Sorry.
it.
I've just been doing this stuff for so many years, that you know these things are, it's no big deal. I mean, a lot of people think their system is going to change their world. It To some degree it might. To some degree it will help you think. But once you have the thinking process down, what do I need to do to get this off my mind? Let me stick it here.
Yeah.
You find out later on, hey, there's a better place to put it. Get it off my mind, because it comes back on my mind because it's over there. I need now I need to put it over here. So yeah, the principles are inviolate, but how you customize your application of these principles is totally up to you.
Yeah.
Totally free form.
Well, David Allen, thank you very much for joining me once again. I always find these conversations fascinating.
Yeah, me too, Dave. So thanks for sparring with me here, and so forth. And good luck for the new book. Again, tell everybody when and where they might find it, the name of it, and
Uh,
do
Thank
another
you.
plug.
The book is Be a Leader, Not Just a Manager. Visit daveedwardsmedia.com and all the information is there. Thank you.
Yay, cool. Okay, Dave, and everybody else, have a great whatever you're having. Yay. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Thanks, David. David Allen is the author of Getting Things Done. I get to talk with him from time to time about productivity, and I hope that you join us again. Please subscribe so you won't miss any of our segments. I'm Dave Edwards. Thanks for joining us.